We begin our adventure with Ignatius Malfide. Weird for a gnome. He's got the gnome flair, but instead of the vibrant colored makeup and weird hair and stuff that most gnomes have, I think you have more like white makeup and black eyeshadow. You look more goth than most gnomes, I feel like. A goth gnome. Older, right? You're a bearded, white-haired older gnome.
Yeah, about 200 years old.
You've been around for a while. You've seen some things.
So yeah, I come from a long line of kineticists. Usually skips a few generations at a time. I have a sister who's also a kineticist. She's an earth one, so she can basically earthbend. We were kidnapped at a young age by the drow.
The drow prefer adopted, but yeah, basically you were kidnapped, but yeah.
Fucking drow. The drow, man.
Now, not all gnomes are kidnapped and treated like slaves, but because you and your sister had these special powers and you showed your power at a young age and you seemed useful, you were a step above a slave. You become a house gnome.
Not a yard gnome.
But you're able to live among the drow. They treat you somewhat like family, like the redheaded stepchild is what my dad would say. But you get treated like a lower class citizen, but better than most other gnomes. Cinderella. Yeah.
I'm definitely an asshole because of it, because I look down on other gnomes. But
yeah, and you've been a slave to the drow for more than 100 years, I would assume. 150, somewhere in that range?
Yeah. So
a majority of your life.
Yeah, indoctrinated in their ways. And I'm a bleachling, so my skin's white because I was underground for so long. I mostly keep to myself.
But you do whatever your master tells you, of course.
Yeah.
And to get the rewards that your master gives you. I mean, you are, as far as gnomes in the society, you've got a lot compared to others. You have a lot of freedom, not much wealth, but some things you can call your own possessions, things like that. You have a room of your own in the drow house. Things that's not a big, it's like a closet, but you're small, so it's not, not a big deal that you have a closet-sized room. So you're afforded a little bit because of your position, even over other gnomes. You can boss a lot of the other gnomes underground around. But you spend a lot of your time in this drow house your whole life. Your master calls you aside and offers you an opportunity for a better life to buy your freedom, your sister's freedom, maybe even greater rewards and treasures.
I would like that.
Of course you would, and it wouldn't matter if you would like it or not. It's the kind of opportunity from your owner that you seems like expected you would take it, whether or not you like the terms. He's got an offer from someone higher up across the ocean. You guys are in Westport currently, but across the ocean he's got an offer. Someone looking for a gnome of your special talents. You've been called to Cranagris, and great rewards await you.
Cranagris, that sounds fancy. I'll give it a go.
I mean, as far as Westport goes, that's a much larger metropolitan area. You don't know much about it, but you know it's a much bigger kingdom. They buy things from Westport. Things are like militarily supplied from your kingdom to theirs. So you don't know much about it, but you've been around this continent your whole life, so for you it'd be great to check out some new continents and stuff, I'm sure. See some new things besides dark, dank caves. So your master arranges a boat ride to Cranagris, or a near port, and then from there you'll travel from the port to Cranagris. So that's all arranged for you. You don't have to do anything except travel with your master, which I assume you would do without any problem. You travel via boat. There's some rough water, and you guys reach near the shores of East Linya. You're traveling to West Linya when your boat encounters some troubles from an underwater creature. Nudges the boat, shakes it up, frightens everyone above deck, including you and your master, who have mostly been able to keep to yourselves. Because your drow master is quite wealthy, you've had a private room with your, it's the drow master's room, but you stayed with them. All of your needs are met there. You even had to really leave his room unless he sent you to get something. But now it seems like you should check out what's going on above deck.
Oh, but I rolled a 19. It's a 22.
Yeah, even though it's dark out, your eyes are well accustomed to the dark from living in caves for so long. You look over the board of the ship, even though it's hard for you to step on a crate or something to see where there's a ship, probably because you're so short. You see what looks like a land mass moving underneath you. You see grass and moss scraping up against the ship. And while the ship is moving, it looks like the land is moving also, like you're moving counter to each other, like the ship's moving away and the land underneath is moving away, and rocking the ship as it rises, almost tilting you guys over, almost tossing some folks off the side. People are hanging by ropes, dangling sort of an angle.
Can I do a knowledge nature? -1, 13.
You've never seen anything like this where, you're familiar with a lot of underground creatures. Nothing like this, a giant water creature, but you do believe it's something alive moving underneath you that's just covered in grass. You don't know what it is, no information about it, but it doesn't appear to be a piece of land moving. It just looks like land underneath you.
Could I...
it wouldn't make sense for land to move at that speed.
Bring that to the attention of my master. Here, it seems to be moving. I think it's a lot.
Alright, you do that. You can communicate that. We'll try to right the ship. Everyone's going to try to lean to one side of the ship to try and right it. See what happens. Probably want to help. So you all run to one side of the ship, so hoping to correct it so it doesn't tip over one side. As this thing passes underneath you, It's a pretty brief encounter. It lasts maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes as it rocks your ship and then it scrapes by and scrapes underneath you, and you'll see it sinking underneath you again as it passes. But was attracted to the surface by your boat and rocked you, frightened a lot of your shipmates, but does continue moving past you after just rocking you just a bit.
Ask my master would be like, do you have any idea what that was, Diplo? Hey.
It's not like you to ask questions, Ignatius.
You're right. My bad.
Let's return to our room.
Got it, boss.
Yeah, you guys will go back to your chamber. Unbeknownst to you and everyone else, 150 to 200 years previously, Vic von Claude, a wealthy aristocrat, a wealthy human in this world, so all the power afforded to you in that station, wealthy and human.
First thing anyone notices about me when they look at me is the fact that I am taller than pretty much anyone's ever seen.
You are a big, tall guy. I would say husky, barrel-chested, bald.
A bit on the bigger side, yes. A lot of muscle under a little bit of fat. You know,
Like-
I like to...
Maybe a little stout from your opulence, your wealth. You might have a little belly from just the wealth that's afforded you good food. But you also have a good build. You are a strong, tall, large man.
I am always accompanied everywhere I go by a rare brindle monkey named Jonky. Mon petit chou-fleur Jonky. Oh.
You're a poo, if it were. You're a poo to your Aladdin.
Fantastic. I love him so much, even when he gets us into trouble because he couldn't help but pull a shiny object off someone's belt. I don't mind. Nobody's ever going to say shit to me about it.
You're so wealthy, why would you steal? You know, it's obviously just a foolish monkey. And the way crime goes in the world, like at a lot of places, you're wealthy enough to get out of trouble, even if you get into trouble. You can pay to have your trouble taken care of.
That's true.
A very comfortable position.
Very comfortable.
Old shipping money.
Old shipping money with the heads on pikes when we founded this city.
Yeah, imports, exports. Yes, that's true. Your family was one of the founding families of Erebane, one of the original settlers there. An East Linian town, heavy human population. Kitsune would call the town racist, but I don't think the humans that live there would see it that way. They would see the Kitsune as problematic and troublemakers, terrorists. They wouldn't see themselves as racist, I assume, and neither would you. But other people might see you that way because of where you're from. But you're wealthy, you don't care. I mean, you have enough power. Doesn't matter if they're Kitsune or human or half-elf or whatever. If they wrong you, you can probably have it taken care of.
Either through legal means or through not so legal means.
Yeah,
I don't really care.
Yeah. Assassins only cost so much money, so...
Assassins, my own strong arm, who
Yeah.
cares?
You're well connected, living the high life in Erebane.
Probably trying to do some high-stakes gambling.
Secret club gambling. There's no real casinos in Erebane. There's a fun park. So unless you want to play the chintzy games there, you're probably either gambling in a bar or gambling in a secret club gambling type of thing, like with other wealthy people, like playing a high-stakes poker game with other wealthy locals.
The only stakes I like are ones that are high.
You're locked into a high-stakes poker game with some locals. You're probably tying a few drinks on, gambling away some of your family wealth. Whatever it is, you're not even counting whether you win or lose. It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter.
Money has never mattered to you. 1 gold to 100 gold to platinum.
You see how big I am? You know
Yeah.
how many spiders they had to make this bodysuit?
You are wearing a fancy spider silk bodysuit. You are decked out in the accoutrements of wealth. You play this game into the night, getting drunk with your wealthy friends, gambling away. Towards the end of the night, you guys are finishing up. You know, you're ribbing your friends, whether they've won or lost. Everyone's giving each other a hard time, other various merchants, and there are other wealthy people from the area, so you're probably on a higher level than most of them, but they're your peers, so you guys are having a good time. You head out for the night, and you're walking back to your palatious mansion, your wealthy estate. You hear a
Got
strange
Jean-Guy on my
tune.
sholdder?
Yeah, Jean-Key's with you. You take him pretty much everywhere you go.
Oh, I love them so much. I'd
and-
like to feed him a strawberry.
And you weren't sure if you were going to end up passing out at your friend's house. You've got a lot of your belongings with you. You're carrying like your survival pack, your to-go bag, in case you ended up staying the night at a wealthy friend's house because you got too drunk. But you didn't.
Of
You
course,
feel like
my axe as well.
yeah, you've got all your stuff with you, and no one wants to mess with you. But you're wandering back home in the dark through the city streets. You see some shadows here or there, stuff moving, but you hear a strange tune. Roll a will save.
Okay, let me see the strength of my mental fortitude. I got the 4.
You hear a strange song and are lulled to sleep by it, and that's the last thing you remember is the strange song as you're wandering home in the dark.
Would you like me to roll a will save for Jean-Guy as well?
Yes, please. Let's see what he perceives and remembers.
He got the 12.
All right, so he probably stays awake a little longer than you and probably even tries to poke you and wake you up and stuff, but only for so long before the song also lulls him into a slumber. Simultaneously to the time this is happening to you, in the past, Rain, R-A-Y-N-E, Rain Culveris,
These are the Colberus clan.
That being said, I know your name is Rain Colverus, and you know your name is Rain Colverus, but Rain Colverus is mute, so a lot of other people don't know that.
He has a piece of slate that he can write on chalk, but he doesn't really care about getting right now. A pretty tall guy, shocking white hair, different colored blue, has blue and red eyes.
You're two different colored eyes.
Blue and red.
And you're a big guy. We talked about how big one of your allies in the future might be. Just for like comparison, how tall are you?
6'8". I'm probably a bit smaller than he is.
But still very large.
Very large.
But dressed quite differently. Your life has been quite different. You didn't grow up in wealth. You grew up in poverty. You grew up
well, as a slave.
maybe in a different condition than our gnome friend, but also in slavery. Beaten a lot. You have a lot of scars from being beaten to do tasks or perform.
Slavery wasn't like brought about as a form of actually getting something. It was brought out of his uncle, who's his owner, twisted amusement.
So your uncle's just an asshole, and he's the only relative who would care for you because you're mute. So your mother and father are dead because of your uncle. Now, are you aware of this, or this happened when you were too young to remember?
Oh, this happened. I was very aware of this happening. I was he was born under auspicious stars. He was supposed to be the new head of the family, but he had a defect that was bizarre to everyone else. One day, his uncle used that as his own son's, capabilities as to usurp the family, the main branch of the family.
A lot of places that might have been like frowned upon or caught upon by the law, but you guys live in West Linya, right?
Yeah.
So you're in a place where the laws are maybe not to your advantage. While they might exist in some places, aren't necessarily positive laws. So it was very easy for you to be taken advantage of where you live.
Yeah, we live in kind of like a mountain, estate kind of deal.
Near Barksdale, I believe, if I remember correctly, around that area.
That's
Although you're
correct.
not super affiliated with those clans, you're somewhat known to them, somewhat familiar. This is the part of the time that city's expanding, growing a lot larger. They expand their territory, so it's a big growth time. You're well known in that area, but you're definitely not as well accepted as most of the members of society. And also, now that you are in a slave position, even much worse than your uncle, who's also still sort of an outskirty towns figure, redneck, or kind of vibe, if you will. He does not live among the people. You guys live far out. You take care of yourselves. You might go into town for a thing or two, and you don't talk. So if you go into town, you have to write stuff down your chalk to get it, and
or my sign language. Or...
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know that though. So
yeah.
Sometimes you might find someone that speaks it, but you usually get much more response from the chalkboard, I assume. Although it's quite a hassle.
He's got a book on his belt for the slave.
So you're doing your slave life. Got 2 slaves going on. What a great start for evil. So now we're learning if anything creates evil, it's slavery, guys. So this
He did just escape from his slave prison after lighting it on fire.
So that's where we're picking your story up as you finally fled your uncle, his house on fire in the woods.
Well, it's a pretty big estate. I'd say they're
They're wealthy, but you've probably just burnt all their real estate.
Their prison. Wicked scars all over him. Crazy.
Very
wicked
scarred.
Scars from the very tortured.
Whip scars, burn scars, cuts.
And a very maddened grin on his face. Burned it up in offering to his new god.
Your clothes are not of the highest quality. You're not wearing much clothes, are you? You're wearing very little clothes.
Yeah, he just stole, he hasn't put it on yet, but he just stole after he killed one of the guards there that was taking out his anger on him, stole his guard armor off of him.
So you've got a little armor, a little stuff, and mostly you're just wearing a loincloth, maybe a piece of cloth across your chest. You don't have a lot to your name. But you did grab what you could in a sack. You've got, I assume, a go bag also of your whatever you can grab at the house before you caught it on fire.
Some fruit.
Major escape. Yeah, whatever you put in your bag. I don't know. We all have survival packs here. I assume you all started the game with some stuff. So you grab whatever you want and flee the house. And while you're fleeing the house, running through the plains where the locals hunt, you too hear a strange tune. Roll a will save.
16. Pretty good.
Not good enough. But you will, because you roll 16, remain awake long enough to see a little imp dancing along, playing a catchy song on a flute, approaching you. And you're confused by it, but it's sort of gets into your brain like an earworm. You can't lose the tune, and before you know it, you fall over asleep. That's the last thing you remember.
He passes out, he flicks off the imp.
Yeah, fucking imp. Meanwhile, also in the past, we meet Lilith DeVille.
I'm Dampier. My mother was a tavern wench who was impregnated by a traveling monastic priest. They banged it out, and he heard she was pregnant, and he bolted. But as she was getting ready to give birth, bitten by a vampire, and I was born, and she died during childbirth. So I was dropped off at the local monastery. Oddly enough, it happened to be the same one that my father, my biological father, was from, but I wasn't aware.
Even though your mother was bitten and you were born, you got afflicted with the vampire or Dhampir curse. So it's like a minor affliction. You're not full vampire. You just have some vampiric traits because it got in her blood.
Half a vampire, and I was dropped off on the doorstep of a monastery, basically, and raised as a paladin. One day, I was sent on a mission from the church to an Urgathoan temple, and as I walked inside to slay the infidels, I was met with a vision, told me to seek out my blood father.
And all this has happened on West Linya. Yeah, your original home was in a camp of zealots beneath the mountains, and you went far west into one of the larger cities where you were sent to kill a priest. But instead of killing this priest, you do something totally unsuspected. You convert.
After I'm 55 years old, so after many years of being an actual paladin, I just recently converted over to being an anti-paladin and embracing the Pallid Princess, Urgathoa, the Lady Lich, and I intend to help her feed the pain.
You hadn't done a whole lot of good in the world before you switched over. Even though you were 55, most of your good was relegated to the camp you lived in. And now you have found yourself and converted. You're welcomed in this Urgathoan temple. They're very friendly, and they feed you a bunch of food. That's Urgathoan. So all the parties are sex parties. All the food is buffet style. You do not want while you're in this temple, basically. You're totally satisfied here, and you're totally excited about your new life. As far as you're concerned, I mean, anti-paladin is a class thing. As far as you're concerned, you're just a paladin of this new church. Like, you don't realize that, you just switched religions and you're just going to do what this church wants you to do. But it's also a very selfish church, so your goals and aims and mentality becomes a lot more selfish. You're definitely more concerned about yourself. Your previous life as a paladin, you may have wanted to defend people and not let them down, and you cared, but now, after a while in the Urgathoan temple, you've grown more accustomed to selfishness and your own ends, your own goals, your own wealth. Some of which you've amassed here. You might have, you've gotten some things while you're here. You've got a little go bag, a little bit of cash. You've got some things. Tell us about how you're dressed, because I've discussed everyone else's outfits. What are you looking like?
I'm about a 6-foot-tall female Dhampir with white hair and...
But not much white hair, though, right? You just have like a tuft or a mohawk or...
Yeah, it's kind of like a mohawk. My armor was black, but I've just got like regular heavy plate armor.
It can be black. It's the beginning of the game, so it can be whatever. I mean, you're not of great wealth, but I can assume you could have gotten a black-colored armor of the one you chose from the beginning of the game. I'm fine with that. Yeah, that's fine.
And then I have a two-handed great axe as my weapon.
I mean, I don't want to say dainty because you're a pretty large woman, but you've got your axe is pretty hefty for a woman to be carrying around. But you don't mind slanging that.
I'm a Dhampir.
Yeah, you got that big dick energy. You're slanging that big ants around. Yeah, you've got that vampire strength and a lot of other vampiric benefits. Your skin, though, is an unnatural color. It's not human
My
skin tone.
Is, light colored, and it's very smooth. I have slightly pointed ears and elongated incisors, but not actual fangs. Closer, I
like olive skin.
A drow, but like somewhere in between, like super ivory to.
So
it's not tan.
So we're going whitish, pale on your end as well. We got a lot of pallid people in this group. I mean, the sun doesn't hurt you. You're Dhampir. You might be a little like averse to the sun, but it doesn't actually damage you, which is one of the benefits of being a Dhampir.
Technically, I took the feat as I'm a day walker.
So it affects you even less than most Dhampirs. Even the Dhampirs it affects is not a whole lot of negatives, but you're even better. You've spent a lot of your time outdoors. You're well adjusted. You probably travel covered as much as possible. Not that the sun hurts you. It's just not your favorite thing. You freckle. You burn. It's just inconvenient.
I'm like a ginger.
So you might hang to the shadows as much as possible if you can, but the sun doesn't physically hurt you.
I don't need to.
The sun doesn't hurt you. It just might. I'm saying it because you're Dhampir, you might not be fond of it. Is all.
I'd rather it be dark.
Yes, but you can go out during the day just fine because you're a daywalker. It doesn't affect you, and you do. You go out during the day, do your thing for this Urgathoan temple, find new recruits, bring people back to the party. You're a good paladin for this church. One day, though, while out paladining, meeting people in the streets, inviting them back to sex parties and stuff, you hear a strange tune. Roll a will save when you hear this handpipe type music.
Oh, only an 8.
You zonk right out. That music is so catchy, and then that's the last thing you remember. You're just blank. Remember hearing a fun song, and you're out. Back to Ignatius Malfide in the future on a boat. Boating away, living that boat life, wearing his flippy floppies. You guys are able to remain in your cabin for the rest of the ride. You ride through some dangerous, militaristic territory with heavily armed boats. But either your captain is well connected or has the right papers or something. You guys are not bothered by these. But you can probably see them through your window. You have one of those porthole windows. You can look out and see all the wave. Yeah, smile at them. There's a row of very heavily armed ships that you pass before you guys hit West Linya. You're able to land safely at a port in a town with strange buildings unlike any you've ever seen. Not really huge, but with strange curved roofs, lots of pillars, lots of open area. It's different architecture than the elven architecture you're used to where you're from, so it's different. And the city is full of kobolds, little half-lizardy, dragony look, like really short, like your height. So that's nice for you. The buildings are accommodating for your size. But they have like scaly, like dragony looking skin, lizard skin, various colors, most of them red. Little lizard people. You're there for several hours. Your master is welcomed just on his name even. He just mentions his name and they bring food and, whatever you guys require for the night. You're given lodging. And in the morning, you leave from there. All of your needs are met unless you want to roll something or do something while you're in town.
Can I do a hummus check?
Perception check for hummus, or there's something hummus-like. There's some dips. You can have some dips.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of finger foods and like anything you need. They bring you, they try to accommodate. It's different than the elven cuisine you're used to. It's not quite as fancy as elven cuisine, but they're trying to accommodate. You can tell there's a lot of like raw fish and things like that, but they're trying to do the best they can to make you guys happy, especially if you're a wealthy master. They might not take you as seriously, but because of who your master is, they bring you whatever you need. Next morning you move on, given a ride even from these locals on a raft. You're sort of dragged on a floating platform behind two floating one-person vehicles that have these small kobolds, like dragon people on them, these little guys, and they're wearing a bunch of armor, wearing heavy helmets and big leather armor and stuff. They're sort of dragging your platform behind these two vehicles. Perception check as you ride along to Cranagris.
17.
You're going to pass a bunch of huge factories, a bunch of huge farm areas that seem well tended. There's a lot of like big plants and stuff, but semi-unnatural feeling to you as you pass them. So unnatural farms, zombie hordes, factories. You pass a lot of odd things you've never encountered in your little life before. But you ride safely past them down a road. All these areas are fenced off, gated up, so that the zombies don't bother you. The farmland's got a fence around it, so the corn doesn't bother you or whatever. But you ride along past all these things. You wouldn't even call them cities, but they probably are. Collections of buildings and houses and businesses down past this road. You see the largest building in the distance, Cranagris, the big gray castle. And that's the most magnificent thing in the landscape by far. And you're headed there with your master. Able to reach Cranagris without any trouble as a passenger on this vessel. Upon arrival, the kobolds drop you and your master off and take their vehicle the other direction. Your master gives you a platinum coin, which you have in your inventory. I believe we've talked about it pre-game, but this is the official you getting it now. You're given a platinum coin to come and go from the city as you please. Now, the master explains to you that's your way in and out of the city, but if you want to spend it on stuff, of course you can. It's yours once he gives it to you. But you needed to get in and out of the city, and to get back in, you're going to need another one. But currently you have one and you can get in. You're with your master. You're brought to a very nice suite in one of their grand buildings. A hotel, they call it. Something you never experienced before. Like a house, but a house of many houses. And they bring you food, and they make the beds for you. And it's so it's very fancy. And you're a small man in a very large, fluffy bed now, like, of the finest fabric, stuff you've never experienced as a slave. You're now getting like the high drop lifestyle, like with your drow master in this fancy hotel. You're living the high life, penthouse style, till a meeting can be arranged, which it can be the next day. So you guys rest up, and the next day you are greeted by a man about your size. A gnomish-looking man, like yourself, also quite pale like yourself. Roll maybe perception check.
18.
You'll notice he's even more pale than you. Seems to be missing some teeth. His skin looks a little flaky. He's looking kind of rough. Not like maybe like a very old, unhealthy gnome or something. You're getting a bad, like, sickly vibe from this guy. But he's dressed very well. He's dressed like a fancy butler type. He's got a nice suit on. He looks very proper. And he brings to you and your master a long scroll, which your master takes and reads the terms of and explains to you very little. You know, you've been offered this opportunity to buy your freedom, your sister's freedom, be given wealth and other rewards from this Cranagris, where you are now, in which you are here now. You see how wealthy they are, how big the city is. They obviously have the resources to give you whatever you want, and your master whatever he wants. He stands to benefit from this arrangement as well. So you both are going to benefit if you do what you're told. You're going to be sent to meet 3 people, and you'll be expected to watch over them. And every time you report back to Cranagris with updates, you're supposed to keep tabs on them, basically. You may be given further instruction in the future, but for right now you need to meet these 3 people, keep tabs on them. Apparently Cranagris knows where they are, and will be providing everything you need to get to the location. You'll be given 4 horses, a black one, a red one, a white one, and one pale in color, sort of like a golden retriever that's really old. You have your platinum coin, you have all the other resources that have been provided to you through an arrangement. Luckily, you're a suave negotiator, and originally they wanted to give you a zombie hand in a jar, some disgusting, nasty little thing as a helper to you. But you made a bargain. You didn't get much more out of the deal than they didn't offer you very much up front, besides the 4 horses, and you got the platinum from your master. But you were able to negotiate something a little better than a zombie hand through a connection with your god and the connections here at Cranagris. You're able to bring a lightning elemental, a small lightning elemental, to your aid. You want to go ahead and give it a name now?
I named it Junji.
You haven't called Junji yet, but you've been informed that's its name, and that you can call it. We've discussed prior to this how you can do that stuff. Their handle animal, religion, linguistics, all kinds of stuff. To summon this creature to you, and then also after that you can give it commands and dismiss it, which will make it disappear back to whence it came. But you have access to this elemental spirit now, as long as you can call it successfully, which is up to you and your god, basically. I know that stuff, but it's been sort of alleged that you're being given this extra bonus, which you're a kineticist of that kind of nature anyway, so it's right up your alley. So you're given all these boons, as it were, and then separated from your master. Your master is now free to go about his own life and wealth. He may check up on you, and if you don't succeed, he will probably retain you as his slave, and you'll return to your life of slavery. But otherwise, this might be the end of your relationship with your master.
Deuces!
You do it while he's sleeping. You back out of him quietly and flip some middle fingers. You whisper "fuck you" a lot. You dip out with your escort in the morning, which will lead you where you need to go. And they'll give you a scroll and give you instructions of where you need to go. You're going to go sort of northwest of here to a small town, catch a troll barge there, and they're giving you the papers they're giving. The scroll that you're getting is basically your permission, your orders to go on this troll barge. So if any of the trolls or anyone else that's there gives you trouble, you just show them this paper from Cranagris that says, I get this boat, basically. It's your permission slip. Your authority is all on this paper right now. So someone that's always been a slave, you now have this great authority written down on paper that gives you a rights to a boat and possibly troll crew and such. So you'll head that direction with your 4 horses, so you can ride them, and there are roads, so you can follow the roads. There are road signs. You can ride your horses. You're a tiny guy, so the horses are kind of like big and unruly. But as long as your ride check's not super shit, you have ride as a skill at least. As long as you're not doing any tricks, you can hop on them and ride. It's no different than like a jockey at the Kentucky Derby. You're just a short guy on a horse. A smaller mount might be better for you, but this is doable. So you ride one, you lead the others behind you. Roll me handle animal to see how that's going.
Can I do a ride check?
Yeah, ride check's fine. I won't allow ride check for this.
I got a 6.
So you're having trouble controlling these 3 horses behind you and the one you're on, personally.
I'm riding side.
You're outside of town, and as soon as you leave town, things go awry. Roll me a strength check to see if 3 of your horses escape.
Oh my god.
I got a 0 for that. Don't worry, guys.
8. So with that, all 3 horses dart off.
Can I yell at them in Sylvan?
Yeah, you can yell them in Sylvan. Sylvan is the language of animals, and you're not a druid, but you're a Gozran, so you are familiar with plants and animals and shit like that. Sylvan is the language of animals. You can throw it out there. Give me a neigh.
A quick prayer to Gozra, the Great Destroyer. I'll be like, please, Gozra, please help me. Bend him.
Give me dominion over these animals. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Diplo or religion, whichever works better for you. I allow both for God-related stuff.
It'll be fine. I lost the horse. I got a 5.
Gozra is not responsive as these horses dart off into the night.
Knowledge nature and see if I can follow their tracks. I got a 17.
You can follow their tracks, and maybe even you'll notice that the roads, because of the mass urbanization of this area and the factories and the fences for the zombie hordes and stuff, your horses are pretty much contained to this road area. So even if they run, they've got to run sort of along the road. So the only thing you're really in danger of is if they go near a zombie fence, they might get attacked because they're food. The zombies are very animalistic. They're either fucking or fighting or eating. So as long as your horses stay away from the zombie fences, you can at least follow them where they're going. They're going up this road somewhere. You can do that.
Cool.
Follow them.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll me something to try and see if they slow down somewhere and catch them. Another nature or handle animal or something.
I got an 18.
Woo!
So I'll let you approach them. You'll realize when you're approaching them, they are very near a zombie horde fence, and there's zombies coming towards them. As you're like, come here, horsey, come here, horsey. But because you rolled well enough, I'll let you lure them away from the fences before the zombies can attack them. They've all slowed down this area to eat the grass on the side of the road, so they're all kind of together here. If you want to grab them all, they have ropes attached to them to reins, and they all have saddles and stuff. They're kitted out by the Cranagris, so you have some nice decked out horses. So if you want to grab these ropes and tie them to something or try something else before you move on, you can. Maybe tie them to your horse. 3 survival checks to see how all those go.
First one's a natural 20. Second one's going to be a 19 plus 3.
That's still good. Yeah, good knot. That's anything over 20. I think a horse is going to break unless something crazy happens.
15.
Still not bad. Not as good as the other two knots, but still tied. That's pretty tight. Nothing's probably going to go wrong unless I roll high enough that something happens. That'll be they'll be like get one, get loose if something crazy happens. But you're able to follow the road. You lead them away from the zombies. You see the zombie hordes like moving towards the gate as you move away. But they reach the gate and are just kind of reaching over and they can't figure out how to get over a gate, the fence. So you're safe from them on the road. Follow the road to your destination, to Fairmay, where a ship is waiting for you with trolls, and you have your slips unless you want to do anything while you're here. Scope out the massive farmland. Seems to be a lot of massive farms here.
Yeah, I'll definitely walk in and check it out.
Yeah, you can look at it. Fruits, vegetables, some animals, a small variety of small animals, mostly rabbits and chickens and stuff, but a lot of other produce varietals.
That's fine. I'm gonna go hop on the barge.
Yeah.
Troll lands.
There's some halflings, trolls around, some imps, but you go to the barge, you're able to get on. It's a one-troll barge. If you're willing to leave with one troll to row, it's flat, but if not, you can wait around for more trolls or call for more trolls. This is the one that's available right now, though.
I mean, you got your 4 horses on there and 1 troll. That's a pretty good ratio.
I mean, trolls my protector is what I'm thinking, though. Like, I want some more trolls. Like, I might be feeling a little uncomfortable. I got some horses that need protected. Well, you know what? Fuck it.
Or eating. If you know anything about trolls, horses is troll food.
Yeah, troll might be better. So yeah.
You gonna go for it? You know, he accepts your scroll. He can't read, but your scroll has the mark of Cranagris on it, so he believes, he's gonna obey the mark because he's under some sort of either ownership from money or some sort of spell. Whatever you say goes, apparently, because you have this scroll. And on the scroll, there are directions to a location. The troll's not very good with that kind of stuff, so you might need to roll a geography to figure out where to tell this troll to go.
Okay, 9.
You don't have any maps, do you? As a former slave, you didn't have any maps in your collection. From the reading that you have, you don't know anything about maps or geography. You know this boat needs to go as north as possible. That's the gist you're getting from the writing on this thing. You just need to go north until you can't go north anymore. You want to go past any sign of civilization. You're looking for, from your reading, you're looking for the far north. You don't know anything about it or where it's at, but it's north, and you know that, and it's far north, so you know it's very far.
With the 9, would I gotta go that way?
You guys can row that way and just hope for the best. I rolled low enough that you guys don't encounter anything in the vast ocean. You travel for a long time with these horses. Luckily, there was some food on board, and you're able to convince the troll to occasionally take a bite out of his own arm. He doesn't eat you or any horses so far. You guys are able to make it, at least near the Reyes area. Oh, I rolled really low. You guys are able to make it even farther north without any sort of problems. Luckily, you're a very diplomatic guy. You've been able to keep your horses safe, keep this troll at bay. Maybe just keep flashing the paper every time you need to remind him not to eat your horses. Whatever you do, it's successful. But you guys are heading north now, and it's getting very cold. You guys are very far north now, past any sign of civilizations. So I need you to make a fortitude save as you guys start hitting this very cold, icy weather.
18.
So right now you're good. You're unprotected here in this barge. There's no place to take cover. You can hide behind horses or hide behind a troll. There's not really any place to be warm or hide. It's just open air. So you're very cold, but you're so far you're doing okay. You're not being hurt by the cold. It's just very fucking cold right now as you guys head north. So you can't go north anymore. One more save as it gets colder and colder and colder and snowier and snowier, windier.
8.
You and the troll and your horses all seem to be suffering. You're all going to take 1d6 of non-lethal damage, so just cold damage. If you have a survival skill, do you? Do you have survival skill? I assume.
Nah.
No survival? Alright, well then you're just going to take 4 damage. As you guys reach the shores of the far north, and shores is the shore because it's where the water meets the land, but it's not land as much as it is like chunks of masses of thick ice covered in snow. But you guys reach a part where your barge can't go any further. There's nothing really to tie your boat to. You can instruct your troll to take his oar and stab it into the ice or the snow and hold his position here.
Yeah, it says it right here.
Yeah, roll me either diplomacy or intimidate to make your troll stay as the rain and snow picks up here on the shore.
Got a 13.
He's not very intimidated by you because you're a small guy, but it was over a 10. So he's going to follow orders, but you can tell he's begrudgingly following orders. After months of traveling on a ship, you wouldn't let him eat the horses. You can tell this troll's kind of pissed off at you, like he doesn't like you. If he could mutiny, he would. He's like waiting for a chance to eat you. You can hear him like mumbling under his breath, like, we would eat the guy like a chicken.
I'm confused because he's the best friend.
It's your first non-slave relationship, and he's been riding this boat with you. You guys have spent months together. He's listened to all your jokes and stories and, just sat there. He even tried to tell you a couple troll poems.
Oh, troll poems.
Yeah, they were bad. They were bad. But you pretended to like him because he's your new friend. You leave the ship and wander. You want to take the horses with you, I assume? Ride one, have the rest tied to you. We can assume the same knots are still tied from before if you like. I'm fine with that. You can head off into the snow north. And you're looking for a sign. You're looking for something. You were told that you would know what you were looking for when you saw it. So you're just like riding through the snow, and it's hard to see because you're being snow blind. You're just waiting for a sign, riding north until something happens, hoping for the best. You want to pray or anything before I go to somebody else?
Well, sir, I love all this failure that kills all the vegetation and animals. It's beautiful, and I appreciate what you do. And if I could get any sort of help so I don't die, that would be swell. 15.
I mean, Gozer will encourage you to keep your horses close together and use them to help maintain your own warmth, keep covered, and keep your eyes on the skies.
Seems legit. That's good weatherman stuff.
You watch the sky.
I have another rope, but I can try to loop it around so we are all walking four abreast. Like,
You can only handle animal to get the horses to walk in that way, to walk side by side if you want. Like right now they're sort of like trailing behind you, being kind of like led by rope, but you can try to handle animal to get them into fall in line.
I got a 4.
Yeah, they don't really want to fall in line. You're sort of like dragging them behind you. The horse you're riding is not great either because you rolled so low, but it's letting you ride it. And you're sort of like struggling to pull the horses behind you. So it's cold. You're uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable. They don't want to follow you north. Roll perception check as you guys are trudging through the tundra mile after mile.
19.
So everything's like blanked out white. It's hard to see, but you are looking up luckily, and the sky is dark. So in front of you is all white from snow, but up high, the snow is farther apart. You still hear it falling, but it's farther apart. You can see the sky, you can see the stars, the moons. A ball of fire falling from the sky, like a shooting star coming your direction. You see it split off into two. One meteor seems to be falling south of you, and one seems to be falling straight ahead of you.
Which one seems closer?
The one that's straight ahead of you.
I'll go to there.
Triangulate where this thing's falling and ride towards where it's going. The one that's falling towards this icy area. One object's growing larger, closer towards you. One's growing smaller and farther away as it goes south. The one towards the north is getting bigger. So you just ride towards it and try to triangulate where you're going to meet it without getting hit by it, hopefully. Roll me one more fortitude save as we ride towards these guys.
That's a 10.
Oh, it's very cold. You take another 4 damage, but still awake. Luckily, you have good HP. Good HP sauce. Yeah. Luckily for you, Ignatius is not unconscious. You're feeling it. Like, you feel the cold. You got the frostbite. You got the chilly fingers. The wind's in your face. You got the cold beard. Like, you got the frost sickles in your beard now. You can't blink your eyes without hurting. But you're riding towards this thing, hoping to run into this thing, complete at least the first part of your first mission. Now, this time, it's a real meanwhile. We're going to catch up pretty much simultaneously in time with all 3 of our other players. So that's Rain, Vic Von Cloud, and Lilith DeVille. Initiative to see who wakes up first.
Ready.
I got a 20, but not natural.
I got a 16.
So yeah, that's the order you'll wake up in then. So it looks like Lilith DeVille, you get the advantage of being the first one to wake up in this strange new environment, so roll a perception check.
Right, that's gonna be an 11.
So you've still got sleep dirt in your eyes, everything's groggy, and of course the last thing you remember, this is going to be very disorienting, because you're waking up in sort of like a blank white space. There are some people near you, but with that kind of a roll, you don't see a whole lot. You're just sort of waking up disoriented. There are people around you.
I also have my Aura of Evil activated, so I can detect anything good near me within 60 feet.
I really doubt you detect any good right now.
Oh, hell no.
Just checking.
Yeah, you can check. That's fair. Put your evil feelers out, and you feel other bodies around you. You haven't made up, you haven't picked a lot of details yet, but you don't get the feeling like they're goody two-shoes or anything. Now, you have a couple seconds. Would you like to do anything before they wake up? Loot them? You have all kinds of options for the next 6 seconds or so. They seem to be stirring awake around the same time as you, but right now you have the advantage. You can slit their throats right now if you wanted to.
I would start attacking side of the egg. I don't like to be enclosed.
So you'll wake up and realize that you're in some sort of weird right room and there's a wall next to you, and you're just going to try to punch the wall?
Well, I mean,
Stab
I
it?
rolled
Axe
a
it?
decent perception, right?
Well, it wasn't very high, but yeah, you'll see there's a wall next to you. You can try to smash the wall.
That's a 19.
I mean, you don't have to even roll the attack, it's a wall, so I can pretty much assume you're going to hit it. You can just roll damage if you just want to hit the wall.
That's a crit. That makes it 21 damage towards the wall.
So you wake up out of your sleep like you came out of a nightmare and it's flailing an axe. While the wall of this thing is pretty thick and pretty strong, you're able to take a pretty nice chunk out of it. So you do, a piece comes out, a hole about the size of your head is formed where you smashed. And now there's air like rushing in through the hole that you hit.
So I've been like, hey, motherfuckers, wake up out here.
As soon as you say that, a next person wakes up, which will be Vic Von Claude. And also your monkey friend who's with you can be in your outfit wherever you like, but can wake up with you.
Vic says, Guillaume, close the damn curtains. The air is getting in. Get me some wine.
So you obviously think you're just hungover in your bed.
I don't open my eyes.
Like any good rich person, you just keep your eyes closed and give me 5 more minutes, hit the snooze button. You have probably 10 seconds or so until Rain wakes up, but it doesn't sound like you're doing anything in particular other than saying that.
Can I spend the next 6 grab each one of them, pull them up, and tell them to help me get the fuck out of here.
Intimidation, what you got? Anything to wake them up. You just let me know what you want to use, and I'll allow it.
Let's see.
Unless you want to hurt them, you can use an actual attack to stab them. That'll wake anybody up.
It probably intimidate, I guess. Honestly, instead, I'd probably be like, hey guys, what are we all doing here? Do you want to help me get out?
It sounds more like a diplomacy than intimidate.
A 15.
Vic, you can hear it. You can choose what to do with that information, but you guys can both hear it and take it however you like. It seems like a semi-friendly person is trying to nudge you guys into consciousness.
Ray would wake up with a start, freak out, and then he looks around, and then he looks really freaked out, and then he looks like thinks about it for a second, and then he looks like this is the most natural thing in the world. And he looks out, he sees the wind coming in, and he's like, what?
So for the first time in your short life, you feel like you're in the right place.
And then he puts up a finger, and he pulls out his slate, and he says, what's going on in chalk? On the slate.
In common? So in common, you write what's going on.
The scratching irritates Vic, and he goes, somebody let the cat out! What in the hell?
While Vic is rolling over and trying to sleep, the crack in the egg has created a flow of wind into the egg and it's started making a room that you guys are in, the vessel that is egg-shaped, that you guys are inside, has started to rotate. So you guys are being tumbled sideways now. So you'll roll, some of you maybe over this hole, head-sized hole, blowing up air into this egg.
I'll open both my eyes and go, what the hell? How drunk did I get last night?
The whole room is spinning, literally.
I look to these two people, to the moderately tall Dampier, the hobo.
I mean, Dampiers don't have any, other than the teeth, don't have any sort of distinguishing features that make them look too unhuman without close observation. So maybe a perception check to see if you observe enough to see that this is a Dampier. If not, you might just assume they're both humans.
I rolled a natural one and I have a +0
Yeah.
modifier.
As far as you can tell, there's just two. You're in this weird room with two humans. All the walls are all white. The room is spinning. It's making your head cold. All the wind blowing on your bald head. It's just very windy in this tiny room. You're here with strangers. You don't know how you got here.
And do I feel the sensation of falling?
Yeah, like being in an elevator that's going too fast. That's sinking like a pit of your stomach, feeling like your body is moving at a rate downward that it should not be, and so does everybody else, of course.
I look confused and I bow at these two people. Somebody plug that hole!
And your monkey's screeching to itself and kind of freaking out as well. It doesn't like all the wind messing up its hair.
Empathic connection with it to gauge his emotions.
Luckily for you, it's not an actual monkey, it's your familiar, so it's sort of a demon in monkey form that just follows you around for magical reasons. So yeah, you can use your powers to calm it down if you like.
It's just feeling the emotions.
He's stressed. You can tell you're falling too, and it's windy, and these strangers here, and
I hug him and I say, Jean-Guy, my little sailor, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be fine, probably.
you guys are falling at a higher rate of speed. The wind is rushing in. Tiny snowflakes start coming in through the head-sized hole, floating around inside the egg with you like the inside of a snow globe now, as you guys continue to plummet, and the egg continues to roll slowly around, so you guys are sort of like tumbling into the small part of the egg, back onto the wide side, and over again as this thing falls. Luckily, it's rotating slowly, so no one's getting hurt. You're just kind of just rolling around the wall as this thing spins. It's a fun amusement park ride.
Well, I would say that clearly I fucked up by opening up a hole in the wall. So I will lay my back against to try to plug it to the wall at a more, normal trajectory.
Yeah, you can plug it, and then the egg will stay like wherever position you plug it in, it'll stay in that angle. And less snow will come in, so now there's the snow that's there will just sort of like settle down towards you are. And as you do this, the egg continues moving at a faster rate. The outside grows hot, sort of warm to the touch. Your back even gets a little warm, but it's not so bad. It's just more like a heated car seat kind of warm. You just feel it getting warm. Where the outside of the egg is probably very, very hot. And even the snow that is settled in the egg starts turning into a pool of water in the bottom as you guys move faster and faster wherever it is you're falling. And you guys are all up in this egg's business. Meanwhile, back down on land, Ignatius will witness this large thing, this egg-shaped meteor, careening towards the ground. It'll come crashing down into the snow, and the hot exterior will cool very quickly in the snow. Ignatius, you'll ride towards this thing that has crashed into the snow, a very large, house-sized egg shape. You've got a little bit of ride to get there, so meanwhile, inside the egg, what are you guys up to up in there? You've obviously just crash landed. Roll me a reflex save to not take any damage from the crash landing, but it'll be minor because you're inside the safety of an egg.
Natural 20!
I rolled a 5.
Got a 10.
Alright, so if you failed your reflex save, you'll take 5 damage. If you succeed, you can take half, which we'll say is 2. 15 will succeed. You succeeded.
Okay. Jean-Guy takes no damage because he has improved vision.
Well, so will the egg. The egg will have also taken that same amount of damage. So it's got some like weak surface cracks in it now, and there's the big hole that Lilith already made. But otherwise, you guys are in this egg. You can see through the tiny head hole that you're surrounded by ice and snow, and it's cold.
What time was it the last time I remember anything.
It might have been late fall, early winter, but even then, in Arabane, the winter is never like this. You're never like so surrounded by cold and snow that it's this cold or this snowy. If you can, even from what you can see through the head hole.
Says to Jean-Guy, I do not think we are in Arabane anymore, mon ami.
And so you guys can gauge from that what you will. If you want to roll geography or knowledges to know what Arabane is, if your character may or may not, you can. Or you can continue not caring because you're evil.
Now holes in the end. He's gonna punch a hole.
You do 10 damage, which is a nice chunk. You make a fist-sized hole. Maybe if you want to put it like right next to that head hole to make the head hole bigger. Now now the hole's the size of a head and a fist together. You guys have cracked that bit of the egg at least. A head and a half.
I will draw my own great axe and try to widen the hole as well. Combine our efforts, got 12.
Maybe larger than a fist-sized hole because you're at axe-sized hole. Yeah. You smash some egg. You guys create a crack. You guys are making quick work of this. You can't fit through the hole yet, but you can see through the hole and it's getting pretty large. Small person might be able to budge through it.
I say, Jean-Guy, go outside. See if there's anything we need to worry about.
Oh, the monkey can do that right away. He'll go outside. Perception check with Jean-Guy.
Guy got an 8.
He walked outside, it's all white snow, he can't see, it's just very disorienting. He gets snow blind also, he doesn't see anything but snow outside, and he can communicate that to you emotionally, however it's not words, but the emotion you get is, cold, I can't see anything.
Yeah, can I roll one?
You can roll perception, Ignatius.
Get an unnatural 20.
Even though that tiny monkey didn't see you, you're heading towards this thing, the distance in the snow is blocking a lot of your vision, like you're also semi-snowblind. But you see something emerge from this egg, because it's like the one thing that's not white on the landscape, basically. You see a little black thing come in and out of the egg. Tiny animal shape come in and out of the egg. Maybe it's just a big egg full of tiny monkeys or something, who knows?
I'd like to go towards that fast.
Alright, so you try to pick up speed with your horses. Roll me a ride check to see if you can get them to speed up. Alright, maybe it's the recent crash of the egg, or the heavy snow, but they seem reluctant to go towards that location at a high rate of speed. So you're still like begrudgingly dragging them behind you, they're sort of slowing you down. You're having to like egg them on to get them to go the direction you want to go.
Egg them on.
You get it? See what we're doing here? So yeah, back inside the egg.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and hack away again at the wall.
So you guys are all going at the same spot, just like taking turns,
Yeah.
like working on the railroad.
Give me, 9 damage.
Torso-ish size now. You guys got a pretty decent sized hole now in this egg. Besides the cracks, it hasn't collapsed on itself or broken, but you guys have made a hole you couldn't fit through, which you could peek out of if you wanted to.
Be like, hello, is there anyone out there?
So I assume you're yelling, right? You're being loud as you can. You can roll a perception check there, outside, Ignatius.
19.
Yeah, you can hear someone yelling from the egg. You hear a human voice.
Hello, human speaking monkey.
Got a 10.
Can't make out. He's not being loud enough.
How far away am I?
Probably about 120, so maybe if you're at the speed you're moving, maybe 2 to 3 turns.
16 on the eye perception.
You hear some noise. I mean, of course, maybe because you can't speak, you hear really well.
He writes there's something out there.
Yeah, you hear a noise. You wipe off your chalkboard really fast with your arm and write on it again. It's getting hard to read now because he's wiped off so many messages, like white in the background. He keeps writing. He hasn't used water to clean the chalkboard, so it's getting harder to read. But he is writing something else on there, which you guys are close enough to perceive, I'm sure.
Vic cringes at the scratching of the chalkboard and attacks the wall again. I got 13 damage.
At this point, you guys could, I mean, you can't walk out of the hole, but if you wanted to crawl out, like, you know, baby tunnel style, you guys could force your way through the hole. It's now large enough if you wanted to, like, go out one at a time, head first. Your call. Or you can keep bashing until it's a bigger hole. It's kind of your call.
Crawling through.
So Rain's gonna crawl through. Alright, you crawl out of the egg. It's snowy and cold as shit. Roll a fortitude save as you poke your half-naked body out of the hole.
Hey, I'm not half naked.
Partially naked with some armor.
14, do you?
14 is a little too low.
Oh,
You take 4 of that cold damage, so as soon as you go outside, you're like, you get that frostbite, damn. It's non-lethal damage, so it won't kill you. But it's enough to the can knock you out and give you frostbite and such.
I'll put on my very loose armor.
You can armor up all you want, but it's cold as shit out there. It's snowing
I
and
know,
windy.
I'm just...
Inside the egg, your body, you guys have been in here, it's like inside the egg, it's fine, but as soon as you stuck your body outside, cold so much that it hurt. Especially for you, because you're not, like I said, unlike a lot of the people in your egg, you have armor but not clothes. You might have some metal on you that can cover your skin a bit, but you don't have anything to help keep you warm. We'll go to Ignatius. You want to, like, try to pick up the pace and ride faster towards them with a ride or handle animal?
One more try.
You never know what the dice will say.
13.
The dice do not say a lot. You're still going that direction, but they're like reluctantly following you at normal speed. So you're just like trotting there. They're not running there. You're just like walking there, like taking your sweet ass time.
You do?
We'll get there sooner or later.
Doesn't look like I might fit through comfortably.
Especially not with Rain's head still sticking out there. And you would probably prefer to like walk straight out than to just crawl out like some sort of peasant baby.
Right, I am not a peasant nor a baby.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Nor a
crawl.
best baby. Rolled a 7.
You roll like you hit slightly above where Rain is at. So you sort of like crack the egg sort of like above where he's hanging out to make a slightly bigger hole. Yeah, with 7 damage, no more shell cracks off, but it creates like a crack in it. It becomes weaker where you hit it. It doesn't break off yet, but like you can tell it's about. You could easily like push it with your hand now. You've cracked it that much.
I guess I will go ahead and roll another round of damage. Had one person crawl through. Yes.
He put like the top half of his torso is sticking out of the hole right now. His butt, he's like Winnie the Poohing it. His bottom half, his butt, is where like you guys see his butt and feet.
Push me through.
Yeah, and his hands and like head are out the front.
I'll do 9 damage.
I assume you're hitting the same kind of area, like you're hitting like around his body. You're not gonna want to hit him, but you hit like somewhere near there. So the 9 will do the same thing that sort of your ally just did. It won't break any egg off, but it'll help cause it to crack a whole lot. So the area around the hole is a lot weaker now because of both of you. You could easily push through it with a hand now if you wanted to, and at least the area right there.
Alright, well then can I use my move action to go through it?
You can, except that Rain is halfway through it already, so he's blocking your path. You can push him, or you can push through the egg, make a bigger hole.
I could actually push him. That would be part of my like standard action.
I'll let it be a move. It would only be a standard if it's fighting. If he resists you pushing him, it'd be a standard. If he doesn't resist you, it can be a move.
I think I've already done my standard. I can substitute my move, push him through, and then I'd have my swift left over. But
I'll let you pushing him cause the 2 cracks that you and Vic made to actually like crumble that piece of egg. So you guys have made a bigger hole now. It is about the size you guys. You might have to duck to get through it, but you can walk through it now if you wanted to, and just like lower your head a bit. Rain will spill out outside onto the snow. Roll Fortitude save, Rain, since you're outside in the snow now.
Alright, that is a 16.
Oh, that's luckily just enough to take half of this damage, so instead of 6, you'll take 3.
Oh my.
Because it's cold as hell out there, and your nips are getting real hard, and your toes are turning blue. Ignatius, I think we're back to you now. You see someone fall out of the egg, like a human form. Not a monkey, a big-ass, at least 6 foot tall, 1/3 naked, a human.
He has very broad skills. His racial heritage, he's a Sully.
And he spent a lot of times outdoors in the sun. It's a combination.
How far am I?
At this point, probably about 60 feet, if you use your move.
If I could yell, I'd be like, hello!
I feel like even without a roll, you can hear that easily, Rain. Anybody else might have to roll to hear it, but Rain, since you're outside, I'll let you hear it without even rolling.
It's a wave. It's a giant wave.
Cool. But I want to walk it back. So yeah, I'm going that way.
Alright, you keep heading that direction. Lilith Fair.
my turn to make my way outside of the egg.
You do that. You walk out of that big-ass hole. Roll a Fortitude save when you walk outside when the cold-ass wind blows up against your titties. Your Dracula titties.
Alright. I got a 16.
Just enough, so you don't, on this turn, suffer any cold damage, but it is cold as a witch's... You feel how cold it is. It's cold. Luckily, you're a little better dressed.
Roll a knowledge. I know where I am, right? Where we landed.
You can roll you don't know. You can roll geography to know that, or some sort of knowledge.
Yeah, I'd like
But you're better dressed than your ally, so you're not as cold as he is.
Geography, that'll be a 13.
You don't know exactly where you are on a map. I don't know if you have any maps in your bag or anything, or if you purchased anything pre-game, map-wise.
Off the map.
Alright, so you have maps. You will know, you've heard of the Far North. The Far North is not on any of your maps, but you know because it's called the Far North where it would be on a map. You could assume that's where you are now based on, like, looking around. You're surrounded by ice and cold. There are very few places to have that kind of weather besides the Far North. Even if you know nothing else, just based on rumors, you could guess Far North.
Never got that cold at Reyes. Yes.
It doesn't get this cold anywhere, as far as you know, without being on top of a mountain or something. So, yeah. And you guys don't appear to be on top of a mountain. It seems to be very flat land where you are. Like,
Alright.
super flat.
Reckon that's gonna be it for me.
You can see Ignatius in the distance if you want. I mean, it's hard because there's snow, but he's got the 4 horses and stuff, so you'll see stuff moving in the distance, although it'll be hard to make out who or what exactly it is. Might be one big creature or a tiny guy on 4 horses, but you can see that in the distance coming your way. But I think it's been yelling, so maybe Rain will, you see him waving at it friendly, so you can assume it's not anything hostile if Rain is waving at it very friendly-like. Vic Von Claude.
Is the hole big enough for me to comfortably and stylishly walk out through?
If you don't mind ducking, yes. If you want to smash it one more time to make it big enough for you to actually physically walk out of, tall and proud like a rich, wealthy man, then one more smash couldn't hurt.
One more smash. I got 15 damage.
That's a head and a half worth of damage. That's enough for you to walk out. We can even pretend like you guys cut a cartoon-shaped body, like a
Portal.
hole in the wall. Yeah, whatever the fuck show's called. It's the shape of you-ish.
Now let me roll another dice because I know I got a modified 20 to resist the cold.
And you can resist the cold for now, for the next 10 minutes or so. You were not affected.
To say, what the fuck?
Your spider silk, luckily, while it looks thin, is very wind resistant.
SD de Calista Tabernacle, where are we?
You can roll a knowledge or just hope someone answers you the question. But
Rain just writes snow.
I know that we are far north, but I saw someone approaching in the distance, I think, but that's about the only information I can give you.
we'll go to Rain real quick, and then we'll see if the person approaching you's got any moves. So Rain.
So I guess it's fucking cold out here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go get the person who maybe has clothes and shit. Or
Well, both the people near you seem better clothed than you are. They both seem way better outfitted for this environment than you. Their arms are covered. And they seem way better outfitted for any kind of weather than you and your slave outfit with the armor that you stole.
I also, in my gear pack, I did buy some a giant cloak to
Oh.
myself in.
So you want to throw on your cloak thing and get your cloak out of your bag and put it on?
Yeah, let's do that.
That'll help. It won't help much, but it'll help some. So you go ahead and get dressed a little extra. So you guys see this big, burly mute guy who's been drawing the chalkboard root through his bag, grab some clothes, like wearing a snuggie now. He's got a blanket on. As Ignatius Malfide, the gnome with 4 horses, approaches.
Do you think a torch would help?
It would help warmth-wise and vision-wise, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Roll a survival check to light a torch, and that'll help Ignatius get to you. And
Funny enough, I have a flint and steel, which makes it just a full round action.
as long as you're not in stress, I agree with that. Yes, as long as you guys aren't in a stressful situation, you can take a full round to take a 10 or 20 to light a flint and steel. As long as you aren't in a battle situation, I agree. You can take your time. So instead of rushing to light this flint and steel, you sit there, you Boy Scout it, you keep going until it works. It takes 2 or 3 tries, but you spark a flame on your torch. Oof. So now the tip is lit. You can hold it up, hold it close to yourself. You can do whatever you want. You can use it as a beacon or just use it for warmth. Without burning yourself, you keep it nearby to have some warmth for your group. The torch is lit now in front of you. They have 3 human figures, and now the light's bouncing off one side of the egg.
Well, I imagine I'm looking pretty beat right now, but I want to roll up and be like, "Hello, Dark One, come bearing horses."
Ignatius, at this point, before you got here, you're on a boat for a while, so if you had any rations prior to this point, since you didn't eat the horses or anything else, if you would do me a personal DM favor and subtract whatever rations you think you might have eaten over a couple of months while you were on this boat, you can keep it as low as possible, but you've probably at this point eaten some rations and probably finished off whatever water supply you have for survival reasons.
Can I refill with some snow while I'm here?
Yeah, you want to try and snow up your bag? You might have to melt it or something, but yeah, you want to scoop some snow into your hands, or you start scooping up snow and you have to hop off your horse to do that. You want to do it now or do it later?
Later.
Okay, but in your mind, you're like, I gotta get more water while I'm here. If I get thirsty, I can just eat some snow. Luckily, there's plenty of snow to eat. So you can get right up on them this turn with your 4 horses. You're now next to the egg with 4 horses and these strange folks. Unless you roll a perception check, which you don't have to, but if you don't, they all look human-ish. 6 foot tall or larger. Twice your height. All human-ish.
Yeah, I was like, choose a steed. It's our gift from your benefactors.
What the fuck are you doing here, little one? How'd you know we were gonna be here? Who the hell are you? Who sent you with these horses?
I followed the star out of the sky. Here you were.
That sounds like bullshit to me.
You can sense motive if you want to see how much like bullshit it sounds.
I can do that. I
It is
actually have a decent sense motive.
It is a half-truth, so...
I got the 12.
You can roll a bluff to see how much better your bluff is than that, Ignatius. But it sounds like you might be able to pull it off.
It was a natural 20, but it rolled out of my thing, so I'm going to redo it. It's 7.
Just stuck with a natural 20, dog. The gnome seems sort of dodgy about this information. So yeah, you can tell there's some things being omitted from what is being said. You're a wealthy man who's done many business dealings in the past. You know when people are selling you something without telling you everything.
Free horse.
Yeah, free horse.
Legitimate and illegitimate deals. I say, well, all right, but this isn't over, okay?
I do want a free horse,
We
though.
can get warm. I have about 10,000 fucking questions for you, all right?
Speaking of getting warm, you guys have 4 horses now. Yeah, so you guys can all try to fit inside the egg with your horses, leave them outside. Might need to crack a bigger hole, but I think altogether you guys can make a big enough hole to get the horses inside. It's about 30 feet, so it'll be a tight fit for all of you guys. It'll be like all of you sleeping together in a barn with 4 horses. You guys can hide inside the egg if you like. Yeah, use your body heat to keep warm. Probably want to put out your torch, because if not, it might lead to carbon monoxide poisoning, but that's just DM talk. I probably shouldn't have told you that. I should probably let you pass everybody out. Apart from melting the snow around your area, when you get back inside, you probably want to leave that lit very long, or else the egg will fill up with smoke.
So if he's falling asleep, you fall asleep forever.
Yeah. Game 1, everyone commits suicide.
Rain produces a banana and offers it to the monkey. Still off the little chamber that the guards got lucky enough to have. They're bruised and not great looking, but they're fruit.
Yeah, no, Junkie does not take them.
That's fine. Whatever.
He's a picky eater.
Banana.
So you eat the banana yourself, Rain, instead?
Yeah.
It's a Rain banana.
And then he draws a banana.
Everyone thinks he's just drawing dicks. You guys play a fun game of Pictionary where everyone just guesses dick over and over again, then you guys go to sleep, I assume?
you.
Anybody do anything else for you guys pass out?
I like to think I feel like I need to rest now, travel far, and I will tell you very little in the morning.
No, it's very little. You seem like a strange little person.
Of course, you can say what you need to say.
I will say to the other two after Rain is done writing, can any of you read what he's writing? His handwriting is terrible.
Chicken scratch.
Are you kidding me? He is an artist.
It's definitely not cursive. It's block. It's like big block lettering. But you guys can catch a warm nap in the egg with only some cold wind blowing in through the hole. You guys can maybe lay someone's cloak or cloth over it to block some of the wind and get a nice night's rest. We can assume at least 8 hours if anyone wants to roll a D8 plus con to regain any health lost from being out in the cold, or anyone that was not able to survive it fortitudely. But thanks to the warmth of your allies, you can actually heal that. Usually you can't heal this cold damage until you're warm, so you can get warm together, guys. You cuddle. So you guys can wake up the next day feeling more refreshed, still just as disoriented. You don't know where you are. It's still blindingly white. The sun's up now, so at night it was blindingly white because of the snow, but at least the sky was dark. It's actually even harder to see during the day because the sky is white and the sun reflects off the snow. It's even worse during the day. So it's harder to see now, but it is daytime. So it's not quite as cold, although it's still fucking cold. When you peek outside, it's just whiteness all around you that you see, if anyone wants to peek outside. But you can all be awake in the morning together if you like.
Fucking people by being the last one awake.
Vic Von Claude, notorious late sleeper. So it'll take a couple of you guys trying to wake Vic up for a while before Vic gets up. After a while, you guys can all be awake.
I'd like to say to everyone, oh, fantastic, another fine day amidst the Arctic tundra. Wonderful. Just
Yeah.
what I always dreamed would be my life.
I think at this point, like, if you thought this was like a bad dream before, now you know this is real because you've had time to go to sleep and wake up again.
I would like to prepare myself some breakfast. I have an entire mess kit, a pot, many rations, both for myself and Zhangyi, and I can make fire out of nothing.
Magically, I assume.
I have 10 torches.
I'll allow you to use one for a meal. That's enough if you bust it up.
Yeah, I'll bust it up, cast spark on it.
It's up to warm up a meal. As long as you don't cook too long, you won't fog out this egg and kill everyone. Unless you want to cook outside, which will be fucking cold.
No, I'm cooking inside. You know, I don't give a fuck about this egg.
So the smoke will collect in the top of the dome, but as long as you don't cook too long. But you're making like something with eggs or something. You're making something pretty easy to cook, right? You're cooking for a long time.
Yeah, no, just, a couple minutes to
Yeah.
make something hot.
Real quick fire, a real quick meal. Is it just for you, I assume? Your selfish
of course.
nature. Whatever you eat's your problem. Vic Von Claude makes himself breakfast in the corner. There's no corners because it's an egg, but like somewhere in this egg, Vic Von Claude makes room for himself, makes a fire, which makes you guys all cough because the smoke in the egg for a minute. You guys fan it out of the hole. You complain the whole time he's cooking, but he cooks something. You guys think he's about to give you some food. He doesn't. He just eats whatever he made right in front of you. He even like hands some to the monkey, but offers you guys nothing. Eat your own rations, whatever you like to do, but it's breakfast in the egg right now.
Brain seems to be writing this exact same word in his like a journal book that he has over and over and over again.
I mean, you can tell me the DM even if no one else knows.
Oh, yeah, it's murder.
Oh. Would anyone like to observe the fact that one of the people in the egg is just writing murder over and over again? That's a loose cannon to watch out
We're
for.
all evil. Yeah, sounds great.
And then there's a dot 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 and at the end of it. There's a dot 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 and then a drawing of the man.
Yeah, I'm not at all concerned about whatever this hobo is writing in his journal.
We got a wordsmith over here. Murder, murder, murder. Murder, murder, murder. Banana.
Brain seems to be attracted to the red horse. He likes to look at the red horse.
You trying to make friends with the red horse?
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make friends with it so much as I just want to ride it.
Oh, you can roll a ride to try and jump on its back. But otherwise, yeah, you can make friends with the horse, and if you want to ride it out of the egg, you can. You have to like duck to get through the hole, but
Well, no, I just wanted to set it up.
that's high enough to be able to ride it.
I would like to badly sing.
Frere Jacques, classic.
Yeah, the song that's partially a language that none of you understand, probably.
I mean, you guys can roll linguistics if you like to see if you understand what this Vic Von Claude, this large bald guy, is singing, or if you get any vibes about the language he's speaking.
I'm cool.
You guys don't care. You don't have to care. You're evil.
Yeah, Ray doesn't.
You can give 0 shits. That's totally allowable. Sounds like no one rolled very high on it. There's like, this guy talks funny. So maybe you follow about 80% of anything this guy says.
Tune in next time for more Constant Chronicle Bad Egg. This episode of Long Distance Dungeons & Dragons Dinner Theater was sponsored by our fans and friends on Patreon. Donate today. Keep Long Distance Dungeons & Dragons Dinner Theater alive.